guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with another reaction to Andor Season 2. We're now into Episode 4, which is called Ever Been to Gorman? I haven't. I'd like to go, because we've been talking about it for all the first 3 episodes. Well, actually, mostly Episode 2, but anyways. So in the last episode, we finally got our people off of the Outer Rim planet. We've got Cassian and Bix and, oh gosh, I keep forgetting that boy's name. They're all off planet. We lost one of the rebels, unfortunately. He was just caught up in the fray, but, you know, there was no time. They had to go. So they're now off. I'm not exactly sure where they're headed next, though, because they really, I think the last communication Cassian had was very short. He basically just said when he found out that Bix might be in danger, he was gone. So anyway, that's what's going on with Cassian. And then we see that on the political side of things are unraveling for Mon on her, you know, all the work that she's kind of putting together, all the things she kind of strung together last season, I should say, are getting a bit shaky, particularly in the case of Tay. So anyways, we see that she danced the night away instead of dealing with her problems. And like, I think we've all been there. Is that pretty much it? Yeah, we didn't get anything else on the Gorman plans outside of the fact that Dedra does not want to do the project, but she's been put in charge of it regardless. So yeah, I'm ready to jump into this episode and finally learn more about Gorman, because I feel like I said the rest of the season is going to kind of center around this place because they've said it a lot in the last couple of episodes. So I'm ready to jump in, so let's do that. Just before I do though, a reminder that if you'd like to be in the know of when I drop episodes, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now. Damn, she either has a sixth sense or really good hearing. Because Cassian is sleeping way too deeply for somebody who's technically wanted. Oh, she's still a nightmare.
They'll never find his body. His family will never know what happened. Oh,
Guilt.
I feel everyone has their own rebellion. Right?
Wow, full-on hallucinations. She needs help. She needs help. More than you can give her, Cassian.
Same thing again. Dr. Gorst. You want to talk about it?
Just go back to bed.
I'd rather not when you're picking up blasters and a delusion, sorry.
We can fill out tomorrow.
Get some decent plates.
I was about to say, I don't think she's going to sleep tonight.
We're gonna keep coming back. We might as well settle in.
You sure you don't want to talk about it?
I think she should. But I get it. She doesn't feel like it's going to help. Because I don't know, like, is there a type of therapy she could go to? If they got something that can mess up her head that much, there's got to be something that can help. But we can't trust the Empire, can we? Oh, Gorman be looking cute. Don't break it. Don't break it, Empire. Oh, I see the spider on the shelf. That's good. Good detail. Not a bad idea. Interesting. Kind of a 1940s futuristic vibe going on here.
The other way?
It's the connection.
The other way?
You might as well be in the Outer Rim.
I'm seeing you clearly.
How nice of you.
Oh, why is this like having every conversation you have with older people on cell phones, video calls where you're talking to their chin?
I think Gorman was a promotion.
His advice is always uplifting.
You're being cast aside.
Not really.
Too naive.
Although, I wonder, I do wonder, do you think that Dedra would save him if she realizes the planet's gonna go boom? And do you think he'll have a problem with it?
I fixed it. You made it back. People died trying for a desk at headquarters.
And then they die at those desks.
Damn, he said, I'm not gonna be no desk jockey.
Those holodrops. This mockery of Emperor Palpatine. You must have seen them. How could you not? Scandalous.
It was deserved.
This place is hardly a threat to the Empire.
Okay.
Don't become too much of an individual, Cheryl.
Can we get that on a t-shirt, please? Don't become too much of an individual. Blend into the masses. You're not special enough. God. Woo, sir. It's amazing that you haven't become a serial killer with that woman as your mother. Like, although, still time.
Pourquoi les bords, Inès?
Je vis l'expression.
Tu m'es pratiquant.
Is she?
La chimique rapiousmatique de là.
Run what down? Are they figuring out that the Empire's up to something? If they're smart. I don't know, this is probably a very bad idea because... Oh yeah, they did say there was rebels on Gorman, I forgot. But no, it's very interesting because he is desperate to want to feel like he's somebody and special, and I think even though he likes Dedra a lot, I think he realizes that she kind of still looks down on him. I don't know, it's an interesting conundrum. He's either going to completely fold because he's obsessed with Dedra, or he's going to go off and do his own thing to try to prove himself.
Hello there. What can I do for you today?
You can mind your business while we shop.
Right, tonight or tomorrow?
Tonight.
That's a really good sense if you know when they're going to ripen.
These are lovely.
Oh, he doesn't like the fact that he recognized her.
No. We're good. Is he strong enough?
It's tougher than he looks.
Okay. One, not two.
I don't blame Cassian. It's always Bix, man. Like I said, the girl's got to learn how to make herself look a little less gorgeous because these men just be... They don't be forgetting her face. I don't know what she's got to do. I'd just maybe start putting her hair in her face or something. I don't know. Okay, so people are not happy that they're here.
There's a meeting. You should come. You have the address.
He's like, sir, I'm in a relationship. But, depending on what you look like tonight.
We should see if we can leave stuff. We're gonna keep coming back.
I'll ask.
She seems to want to settle down.
He was a threat. He was a soldier. Biggs, you put on the uniform, you take your chances.
Oh, someone else.
I want to tell you it goes away forever, but I'd be lying.
I mean, it fades for you. But people are different.
He was a threat. He was an imperial threat. You and I are here now because he's dead.
It's a lot of justifications. And those are clearly not working for her.
It had to be done.
Perhaps, but I think what she needs to hear is that it's okay if you feel bad about it. Because it's okay to feel bad about it. Oh, that's creepy. Can't read any of that. Watch him be like, it's in Gorman, no!
I know it's not what we want, but the insanity of the city keeps us safe. Just trying to protect us.
You mean me?
What's so wrong about that?
It's warping things. Living like this, mission after mission.
Okay, so he has still been working.
And I regret every second that we didn't spend together. But I'm trying not to count on anything anymore.
Yee.
I can handle more than you think.
Which is why you're awake every other night.
I'm not Marva.
That's
I'm not your
not-
sister.
What am I messing up?
It's not up to you to fix it.
War. You killed him because you saw my face.
Just a protection. So he thought.
What's the difference?
In his mind.
I don't know. If I'm giving up everything, I want to win. We have to.
Or die trying, I guess. That's war, sadly. This is rough. Emotions, they're not easy to navigate. Or predictable.
Take 5 minutes.
Right not.
Sorry. When authorized. Where I can tell you where they are.
He's like, listen, they don't pay me enough. Whatever, we tried. Did ya? Oh, she said, no peeping Toms.
I know they're tapping the office comms. I assume I'm being followed all the time.
Okay, good for you.
It has to be them. Who else could it be?
A cult.
Well, let's wait and see what happens.
Oh, I thought you wanted to breathe parch gas.
Looks like she has something.
No.
Right now, all you have is a meeting. Yeah, respectfully. Again, it could be a sex cult for all you know. Which, again, not so bad, but not the kind of thing you need to report.
30 suspects in custody, and we are still ingesting and speculating. Where's the
These
intel?
things take time.
What we
Argument there, sir.
hardly the tempo required for effective counterinsurgency.
It's disappointing on many levels. I see a variety of causes.
Pick
Oh.
one.
Right? He's like, give me a good excuse.
too many people.
Well played, Lonnie. Thank you for reminding us all how this room is meant to function.
Lonnie might have shat himself.
75 restricted Imperial weapons. You've had that 10 days?
It's my desk now, Dedra.
Ooh, he said back up.
Andor must be found.
If you can.
You can have all the glory.
Has it ever crossed your mind that Partagas put me on Axis because I don't seek glory?
Clocked! TikTok!
You've given me a lot to think about. My door is open.
It's okay, you can keep it closed. You and your simp can hang.
I know what I was thinking.
How do I repay you?
Oh, do you indeed?
Buy me lunch.
Is that code for something?
It's a security bomb. You're confusing criminality and politics here.
Is she?
Really? Are we finding criminals or making them?
Oh!
Why?
T!
Was put the bill because our country is chafing the Emperor. Why I'm in this position, and why it seems to be intensifying, and why Gorman is being persecuted so intently are questions no one seems prepared to answer.
Go back 2 years.
Mom's figuring out she's not in the circle.
I am close on the votes.
That's not what I hear.
Oh,
Look at just the
I feel like that's true, Mom. You don't know what's going on, girl. It's a game within the game.
places. Gorman, of all places.
I'm not sure linking anything to Gorman right now is a good idea.
Damn, they weren't lying about how the gossip would work.
The blockade didn't have to go very long to remind us how vulnerable we are.
Does he?
Not first names.
No.
Yep, they're too scared. Damn. I wonder if Luthen's aware of what's going on yet. We have not seen in this episode at all. Oh, look at that. Speak of the devil. I know.
Dedra Lira is running Gorman.
He does
He's been
know.
on it all year, all this time. Hiding it.
Why, she's a hunter, not a spin doctor.
Maybe she's oversight.
But what? Smear campaign is an opening move, not an end game. I need the end game.
You do indeed.
I don't have it.
Yeah, this is tight. Sealed up tight.
I can't wait another 3 months, Lonnie. There's too much going on.
You used to tell me to wait.
Things change.
Those days are gone.
Respectfully.
Who was standing by?
Back to the shadows with me. Yeah, you're making this guy play a dangerous game, though. You can't press too many questions in a place like the Empire, especially when you don't belong there. Oh, wow, Luthen's behind. That's not, I mean, yeah, I don't think he's got anyone in that circle anymore. He's like, yeah, I'm part of the group. Yeah,
And Deb.
Is that a cuss? Was that a cuss? No, not really. It's just a distraction so they can do what they need to do.
He's an Imperial spy. Be careful.
It's not funny.
It's true.
It's not true, is it?
It's true.
You're very brave to be here.
Is he?
Am I in danger?
Certainly not from us.
As they sit in a formation to surround you.
Many people are starting to think this new building is more than just an annex. I'm not sure why the Empire would build an armory in the middle of Palma.
Why would they?
Out of answers. Grand Moff Tarkin killed 500 peaceful, unarmed Gormans in the middle of that plaza.
He doesn't care. He just cares whether or not his girlfriend's gonna breastfeed him tonight.
We can do some good together. Donash Badari next.
Next.
Oh, he has been learning. I wish Cyril had the backbone to do what's right, but he is a simp. Oh, God, please tell me she's not in the middle of the street somewhere with the... Okay. Whew.
I want you to try something different. This will be clean work. You bring nothing but your wits. I can't go. It's too visible. I'm not sure. It's a different kind of mission, but it's not without danger.
That's true. Especially since the lady hunting you's going to be there soon.
Gorma would be a remarkable place to turn our way. I need to know more before we get involved. Things will be fine. You don't know that.
Yeah, you really don't.
And I haven't said yes.
But you will.
Reach out to Clea. I want this done quickly.
The way he's like, anyways, you did say yes. That's all I'm hearing. That is a big ass Wookiee. What has he been doing now that I think of it?
Look at you. Look at all your loveliness.
Hi, Forrest.
Who taught you this?
I'm here to teach the variations. More than that, I'm not allowed to say.
Look at this.
Secrets.
A brave one. But how brave?
That laugh.
Have you ever done this for real? Or just in a classroom?
I've done it. Never alone, but I've done it. Twice.
And you're still alive?
No, you're hallucinating. Damn.
Variation.
Pick one. Start with your favorite.
Well, we should concentrate on the station you're planning to hit.
You teach them all.
He's not giving you nothing.
I'll let our friend know that you're being taken care of. Find him a place to sleep. You're here till I get what I need.
Oh dear. Did Luthen... Is he here because he's supposed to be? But it sounded like he was trying to get info for sure. But that didn't work out. You're a little too nervous, and I think he picked up on that. Not your fault, though. That was terrifying. Looks like the kind of man that will easily just, chop your head off. Because he felt like it. Does this mean they're married now? He's going. I'm 50-50. Like, maybe she'll actually be okay or better. Well, actually, maybe not better. She was worried about him when he was gone, when she was on that rim planet. But she seems to really want to make this place home. I don't know. She needs help is the bottom line. Help that I don't know what she's going to be able to find. Definitely not on the run. Drug? I don't even know. I can't, like, she needs so much help and she's not sleeping, which is not a good combination. But if this is a drug that makes her altered at the same time, this is probably not a good thing. Where did she even get it? How long has she been taking it? Oh, Bix, my girl. I don't know. I ain't got no answers for you, girl. I don't know. Oh, goodness. All right, well... This episode, I feel like we got a lot more of Cassian. They heard my cries from the last episode. Basically, well, not the last one, but the one, episode 2 in particular. I was like, this is Andor's show, and we've not been seeing a ton of him, but they definitely remedied that in this one. We got quite a bit of him and of Bix, and we see that now we've had another year pass since the events of episode 3, and things as far as the plan. Well, let's talk about the plans first. Well, then we'll get to Bix and Cassian, because I think there's some pretty deep stuff there. But yeah, back to the political plan. Yeah, it's in full swing. It's kicked off. It's happening. Right now, the Empire's going under the guise of just wanting to create an annex and, doing things that are supposed to be perfectly fine. But the propaganda has started. Even though we heard Dedra straight up say she hated the propaganda thing, they've already done it and it's working, right? We're seeing that Mon is having a really hard time trying to put through emotion that she's got there because people don't want to go up against the Empire, right? The Empire has spread enough rumors without being direct about saying that the Emperor's got his interests in Gorman and that is worried about Gorman as well because Gorman is, all those things that those idiots were saying back in episode 2 or was it 3, whichever one were there. It was 2. And anyway, we see it's working, right? Unfortunately, those guys that were talking about it at the table in episode 2, they weren't wrong. People already, it looks like across different parts of the Empire, had their feelings about the Gormans anyways, right? Like they already felt like the Gormans were a little bit arrogant and a little bit snobby. How much of that is actually true, we don't know. But either way, when you already have people already have a bit of an opinion of that's not positive, it's not hard to lean them towards believing anything about them. And so that's clearly working. And Mon is obviously not in the inner circle of all this, so she's no idea what's happening and why things have changed so much in such a short time. as far as, you know, whatever she was wanting to put through as far as her motion. And so that's interesting. But I mean, it might get her invested, at least on a political side, with working more with Luthen. I mean, she would work with Luthen anyways, but Luthen is definitely trying to figure out what's going on. You know, my prediction was that, you know, maybe he did know, or he would by now, but we see that all he knew is that something was happening on Luthen. He figured out that the Empire suddenly sending so many resources to Luthen was a problem, but of course he didn't have anything. And like in episode 2, when that guy said this is going to be a tight, like zipped in circle, like no one here is going to talk, so far that's clearly been the truth, because the fact that it took his contact, Luthen's contact, 3 months to just find out that it was Dedra that's been put on this Gorman operation, like that tells you how tightly things are going. I said in that episode that I thought there would be a leak, but clearly people have been doing pretty good. Mind you, they're probably scared, of course, of facing Palpatine's a senator at this point, isn't he? They called him Senator Palpatine or Emperor. I can't remember. But anyways, they're scared, right? Whoever's in that room was scared enough by the warning that they're not willing to take the risk of saying anything yet. So anyway, we see that the way that Dedra is playing this is that I guess she knows that she's just not the infiltration type. Dedra doesn't have it in her. Girl, she barely likes her boyfriend, okay? There's no way she could fake liking the Gormans or trying to make friends or any of the things you need to do if she was sent there. So you see that she sent her simp in as someone that she hopes is going to be contacted by the rebels. Remember the plan she said back in episode 2 was to get the rebels, because she knew there were some on Gorm, and get them to basically work with them, unwittingly of course, and create the right amount of distraction and discord in Gorman, because if they did that, then when they eventually do what they have to do, people are going to be too distracted by the civil unrest and basically the Gormans taking each other out or possibly having that issue, that they're not going to have as much attention to pay to the Empire and what they're doing, right? So it's sadly a good plan, and yeah, this is after a year. I don't know when she sent her simp there, but he finally has been contacted, right? And yeah, we see that so far it's a light contact. We found out that the leader of this front is indeed one of the politicians there. But from Luthen's description, he's not someone who often gets involved in the mundane things of the people. But because the civil unrest is getting so bad, A, because of all the rumors that are being spread that are false, and B, because it's affecting the business of the Gormans. Like we heard one of them say that they're not able to get their shipments out. Things are becoming very, like their whole operations getting interrupted, which means that their workers all along the chains, the supply chain, are getting dissatisfied and threatening not to even bother harvesting. So it's becoming a big problem, and the people are getting upset. And more importantly, the people aren't stupid, right? We heard several of them like, we were told the annex was going to be a small building, and they're turning it into a fortress. We were told that, you know, they weren't building anything military, but I am positive they're building an armory, right? That one guy, which again, the guys, of course, you know, the leader was saying, well, we don't know that, but I'm like, I don't think he'd throw that around lightly, right? And he's not wrong, right? We heard that in episode 2. They absolutely plan on putting an armory in there. So yeah, and I think they're also building a drill. I think they're planning on building the big drill that they're going to use. So a lot of things are happening. And again, the Gormans are not dumb, right? They are watching. They already were suspicious of the Empire, and they're constantly, they got their eyes out, right? Then basically, you know, they're frustrated because they're seeing it happen. You know, they're saying the sky is blue, and these people are trying to gaslight them and tell them that it's green, right? So anyway, that's what's kind of happening. We saw that Cyril the Simp was approached, and he had a very interesting face. Like after seeing the council meeting, I think he said he understood very little. I don't believe him. I think he actually understood more than he's saying. But anyway, he got to hear the grievances. He saw the people, and I think particularly the old lady, you know, saying that, you know, her whole family, like they're all buried in that memorial, and she thinks it's very disrespectful that the Empire is just shirking aside their very important cultural thing in order to build this thing. And basically, yeah, the leader of the rebellion, he did I think he had a lot of slick speech, but in the end, he basically was like, you know, can you help us, right? We're trying to keep balance in this place. Like, this place is very special. These are real people, as you can see here, with real grievances, and they've done nothing, right? It's like, you've been here a while. Like, I don't know. Like, I think he's trying to appeal to Cyril to see that he's been here, I don't know how long yet, but I'm pretty sure he's noticed that the Gormans are not arrogant or rude or any of the things that all these different rumors are saying. So anyways, he's basically been putting it out there. He didn't directly ask Cyril to work with them, but he basically said, hey, maybe help us out, that if you're sending reports back, let them know that we're just people trying to survive. Just let them know that we're just people trying to protect ourselves, you know, basically trying to see how pliable he would be. But we all know that that's, you know, Cyril's job is to get in with them and, of course, feed information back to Dedra, which I thought was so funny in their call when he's like, are you going to tell the boss that I got invited? She's like, no. Why would I do that? Like, you got a meeting, yay. Like I said, the meeting could be anything. The meeting could just be to have coffee and talk about whatever sport they play in Gorman. Like, please, like, give me something solid. That's what you go to the boss about. Bless his heart. And anyway, speaking of Dedra talking to her bosses, that was hilarious in that meeting. After that meeting, actually, when she talked to the guy who's now now in charge of the project she wants to be on, the Axis project, and the fact that he's giving her nothing, and she's like, well, you could have called me, and he's like, yeah, this isn't your job anymore, actually. And she is so put out. And she's like, look, she's like, I just want to find, you know, I just need to find Andor. You know, she's like, you can take all the glory, just, you know, let me help you find him. And he's like, yeah, I'm not doing this for the glory. You're kind of clocking the fact that she's a little bit obsessed. Again, I don't think that she's doing it for the glory at this point either. It's very personal for Dedra to catch Cassian, but digressing, it was kind of funny to see her absolutely pissed off, and the fact that everyone else figured out. But that's exactly how the spy, Luthen spy, figured out what she was working on, right? Because the fact that she was so desperate to get back on Axis. But anyways, that's kind of what's happening on the political side of things. Luthen is very frustrated because he can't figure out what's happening on Gorm, and he wants to know what's happening, especially with his own rebellion happening. He needs to know what the Empire's up to there, if they're potentially creating something that's going to disrupt his plans. And since he can't figure it out from his internal source in the Empire, he's got to tap old Cassian, who has been, I guess, doing small jobs here and there for him, but for the most part, him and Bix have been lying low for obvious reasons. And he basically wants Cassian to go in there and just go on a recon mission. Like he said, like no fireworks, nothing. There should be no violence. He's really just supposed to go in there and see what he sees, put his ear to the ground, and see if he can find out information and feed it back to Luthen. Because Luthen's like, I need to figure out what's happening there before it's too late. And I can't go there myself because I'm too visible of a person. And my only contact there is one of the most famous people there. So there's just no way. And so Cassian is reluctant to go. And we discover the reason he's reluctant to go is that Bix and her PTSD is just, it's PTSDing, man. Like, there's no other way to put it. It's the thing about PTSD is that if it's not dealt with, if it's not something that you work to work through, it doesn't just go away, right? When you're busy, when you're distracted, like Bix said, you know, when she's busy, it's not bad. It's when they're quiet, when they're relaxed, when there's time to just, for your body to kind of self-regulate. That's when that trauma is going to make its way back up because it hasn't been dealt with. And so that's why if you ever met anybody who has PTSD, or, you know, you've heard or read about it in your research, you know that for many people, it takes a long time for them to work through it. And it's not like a one and done situation. Many people have to seek out some forms of therapy or treatment for it. And as I said, for some people, it can go a little bit faster. For others, it's years of working with somebody to get to a point where they can manage their PTSD symptoms. Some people never really, you know, completely get rid of it. Some of them just learn how to manage their symptoms better. So all that to say is it's not something to be left alone, particularly if it's getting worse. And in her case, I would say it's definitely getting worse. I mean, it was nightmares that we saw anyways to begin with, and now she's having like waking delusions, and that's, you know, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not at all in that field, but I gotta think that that's an escalation when you're starting to hallucinate, or I think they call it delusions, right? When you start to have hallucinations while you're awake of things. Like, she actually picked up a weapon, right? So that scares me a lot, because if she's not seeing what's actually there and she feels like she's in danger and her trauma response is triggered and she's got a weapon, I mean, thank God Cassian saw what happened and came behind her. But what if that happens when she's in public next time? What if there's a kid there? What if there's just another innocent bystander? Like, it's not okay is the point. It's very scary, and it's escalating because she's not dealing with it, and she's not talking about it either. We see that she's just giving Andor, you know, little tidbits of what's going on with her, but she doesn't want to have the conversations, and that's understandable, right? A lot of people with PTSD feel like talking about their trauma will make it worse, but that's not always true. In many cases, talking about it takes away some of the boogeyman aspect of it, if that makes sense. It kind of makes it a little bit more tangible and manageable versus letting it churn in your subconscious unbridled all the time to the point where it turns into this huge thing that you feel like you can't surmount. So anyway, she's not talking about it, not for Andor or for Cassian, you know, trying, not for his lack of trying. Like, he's been trying to get her to talk about it clearly, but she just, you know, she's dealing with as much as she can deal with right now. And what's more is that whenever they're on these downtimes between missions, of course Cassian is hyper vigilant because he's been caught before, right? Like this, you know, he's not his first rodeo with hiding, and he knows what happens when you get caught. He's been imprisoned. He knows that if the Empire gets a hold of him or her, it's not going to be good. So yeah, he's very, very extra careful about her and himself, and making sure that they're taking every possible precaution not to get caught. And it's making Bix feel even more, you know, his anxiety over that is giving her more anxiety. So it's just not a really healthy situation, unfortunately, overall, and not one that's very healing for her. And, you know, poor Cassian, I just thought it was very interesting the way they showed the juxtaposition of, you know, she's dealing with, of course, what they did to her with that damn machine, but also the fact that she knows that someone had to die because they'd seen her face. And she feels guilt over that, which is, as I said in the episode, I don't think that's a bad thing, because we should be okay with people dying no matter what the situation is, even if it is a matter of like life or death, him or me. Like, yes, it might be like the choice for your survival, but it doesn't make it a good thing. It doesn't make it a happy thing, right? So she's still trying to put her feelings in the right place about that. And Cassian, I think it bothers him too, but we see that his way of justifying it is, you see him over and over again. It was to protect you. It was him or us. He had to die so we could live. We're only here because he died, right? So I feel like the way he said it and so passionately is because this is something he's probably churned in his own head when he thought about it, right? Is that he didn't like it either, but he's got to move forward. And it just shows that people handle things very differently, right? They both understand the logic of the situation, but you know, it looks like for now Cassian's compartmentalizing that a lot better, whereas Bix, maybe it's because of the other things she experienced too, she's just not dealing with it well. And then the fact that she's expressing this, and you know, she's saying she's just trying to express it and Cassian's trying to fix it, right? And that's so real. Like, sometimes I feel like with men in particular, they tend to want to, if they see there's a problem or feel like there's a problem, they want to fix it, right? Because they're doing it out of a sense of caring and a sense of love. But sometimes it's not that they need, you know, sometimes people don't need things to be fixed. And especially with women, the way we process our emotions many times, we don't always want something to be fixed. We just sometimes want to be heard, and for someone to acknowledge that they've heard us, right? Because I think that Bix gets the logic of it, right? But she's saying that there's two sides to the coin, right? Because she's saying, did you do it to protect me, or did you do it because he saw my face? And remember, he said they're one and the same, but to her they're not. So, or at least she's saying it's more than that. Like, you know, maybe, you know, this wouldn't have happened because of this. And so she's just going through her process is the point. And I think she just needs Cassian to understand where some of her anxiety and feelings are coming from. And she knows that there's nothing that can be done about it now, right? But, you know, Cassian just needs to let, you know, I think she just needs Cassian to know how she's feeling, and Cassian needs to be able to just accept that. And maybe, like I said in the episode, just say to her, you know what? Yeah, it sucks. You know, this thing that happened sucks. Someone lost their life, and it's because of us, and that's not cool. It's never cool that it has to be a us or you situation when it comes to life, but that's what happened, and I understand that you feel bad about that. Like, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to scream? Like, whatever you want to do, like, just whatever you want to do, I'm here. Kind of thing, right? Would probably be better than just being like, I need to fix it. I need to make you feel better. You need to smile so I know it's fixed, right? So yeah, it's just an interesting dynamic. Very sad because they clearly just, you know, there's a lot of love there and they are trying to look out for each other. But yeah, Bix is just really not okay right now, and she's not getting the help she needs by being isolated like this. And we see that, you know, Cassian took the job because obviously he was going to anyway. I mean, I think some of it's because he can't really say no to Luthen like that, but I also think low-key kind of wants to get some space from Bix, because I do think it's kind of I think her condition is rubbing off on him a bit in the sense of anxiety that it's causing him. And yeah, we see that once he was gone, that Bix looks like she's got some form, I don't know what it is, if it's a drug or what, but I'm not surprised, honestly. Like, she's really going through it, and she isn't sleeping, and she's stressed all the time, and she hates being locked up in there, and it's just, yeah, it's kind of the perfect storm of reasons to potentially seek a way to bliss out rather than deal with your problems, right? If that's in fact what she took. So, well, I guess we'll find out. I do hope it doesn't turn into a chronic problem for her, but I definitely can see the potential for that if something's not dealt, something doesn't happen. I don't know what, like I said, the hard part is I don't know what the answer is here, but something does have to definitely change for her, and soon. But yeah, that's where we're at with this episode. We now know that Cassian's on his way to Gorman, and I feel like it's not going to be too long before Dedra's going to be on her way. I think it's all going to come down to whatever her simp says about this contact that he's made. But yeah, I feel like things are definitely going to come down to having a lot of people on Gorman and seeing how this whole thing's going to kick off, because they're definitely dropping the hints that there's a big event about to kick off pretty soon. The powder keg is definitely, you know, the gunpowder is everywhere. You're right, the gunpowder is everywhere. The powder kegs are full. So what's going to be the spark? We're going to have to see. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I'll see you in the next one.